Never in a million years would I think that I would be a fan of Apple's lower tier products, i.e. the iPhone SEs, Mac Minis, baseline iMacs. But here I am in 2023, continuously blown away by what this company has invested into their entry-level products, into their lower tier products, if you will. They're products that are not Pro, they're not MacBook Pros, they're not iPhone Pros, they're not Apple Watch Ultras or anything like that. The insistence on making their entry-level / lower tier products that much more enticing to get people in, to get way more bang for your buck than you've ever did in history is very, very interesting and appealing to me. And that brings me to the topic of today's video, because ladies and gentlemen, this is the 15-inch M2 MacBook Air, and this is quite simply, I think, the most remarkable laptop I've ever seen from Apple, and this is why. Now, I'm not gonna go into specs. You can check out all the specs on Apple's website. I'll link them down below if you'd like. All I'm gonna talk to you about is the experience of this laptop. I'm not gonna talk to you about power. I'm not gonna talk to you about its versatility. I'm going to talk to you about the experience of using this laptop, because at the current moment, I have two Apple laptops. I have a 16-inch, fully maxed out M1 Max MacBook Pro that I use for work, and then I have this, the M2 15-inch MacBook Air. Now, first and foremost, I never thought that a 15-inch on a MacBook Air would be a good idea. I was one of those people who was like, who wants a 15-inch MacBook Air?
This is the 15-inch laptop that we've always wanted to create.
The point of a MacBook Air to be what the original presentation was from Steve Jobs, to fit in a manila envelope, something so slim and so tiny that you could just kind of carry around like this and you're good to go, and it's not obtrusive and you don't need a backpack for it. You can like put it in a purse or a satchel or whatever. That to me was a very interesting concept. Not enough power in those machines, absolutely, granted. Great for simple stuff, Word documents and maybe like watching a few videos here and there. Maybe even that was a little too intensive. But as far as web camera goes, no. As far as video editing goes, don't even think about it. As far as audio production goes, like, don't make me laugh. You couldn't do those things on a MacBook Air. Fast forward to the M1 version of the MacBook Air that came out in 2020 during the pandemic. Everyone's jaws just dropped. What do you mean there's no fan? What do you mean that you can do video editing on this? What do you mean that you can do audio production on this with Logic Pro? What does that mean?
I don't even know what that means anymore.
With a MacBook Air that has no fan, by the way, blew everyone away. But what was going to be the follow-up? Well, this is the follow-up. The M2 chip, something that I'm very familiar with because I have the M2 Pro Mac Mini. And the M2 Pro Mac Mini, I've already made a couple videos about it that I'll link below, is to me my favorite desktop that I've owned from Apple, period. I love that thing. For the price point of $1,100 or $1,300, if you will, to get what you get out of it, to me, is absolutely remarkable. Then we go to this. This is, to be quite frank, the slimmest laptop I've ever seen. This thing is very skinny. It's barely skinny enough to fit the headphone jack. Look, the headphone jack literally goes from edge to edge. That should tell you all you need to know about how skinny this thing is, because when I open this, look at the headphone port. It literally takes up the entire edge of the laptop, from edge to edge. The entire space is just dedicated to the headphone port. If there was no headphone port, one could argue that this could be even skinnier, because look at the Thunderbolt ports. There's still some room on the side for those. Look at the MagSafe. There's still a little bit more room to kind of make this even skinnier. The best part about this thing is that it weighs nothing. This weighs absolutely nothing. This maybe is like maybe 3 pounds, maybe not even 2 pounds. Again, I'm not going to talk specs. You can look up specs underneath. But the experience of using this has been absolutely incredible. The trackpad is very kind of, listen to this. I love that trackpad. Look how big, nice and big the trackpad is. And then the keyboards, listen to this, just listen. That's a nice keyboard. That's a nice keyboard that actually feels very nice to type on. I actually prefer typing on this one than I do the M1 Max MacBook Pro for whatever reason. The M1 Max MacBook Pro, when you compare these two, as far as picking it up, as far as using it, my goodness, you can feel the weight difference. You can feel the fan in there. You can feel the bigger battery in there. That is a beefier Pro laptop, absolutely, in comparison to this. But what I've been able to do with this so far is nothing short of remarkable. First off, the battery life on this is incredible. I don't charge it for like a week and a half. Now, I'm not using it every single hour of every single day, but when I am using it, web searching, I'm watching videos, I'm doing taxes, I'm writing documents, I'm writing notes, doing very light video editing work on Final Cut Pro that I have on this, flies through. Again, the M2 chip, phenomenal. Like I said, I use the M2 Pro chip on the Mac Mini. Those things, these chips can do wonders with the devices that they are in. The screen is absolutely beautiful on this thing. Look how nice and bright this thing is. This is full brightness right here, all the way down to 1 nit, right? Like you can see the reflection of where I'm at, and then here we are at full brightness. This is outdoors, by the way, 10 o'clock in the morning, nice and bright. You can look at this just fine and read everything. This is with the black screen. Scroll down to the white portion, you've got everything that you need to see here. The screen is absolutely gorgeous. Now let's go to webcam. This is me recording on the webcam of the M2 MacBook Air. The quality looks phenomenal, actually. I would actually use this. I would totally use this if I need like a third or fourth camera or something like that. This actually looks quite good in comparison. This looks like it's very similar to like the iPad mini camera or even like an earlier iPhone X camera or something like that. The quality of it is actually quite good. You can see right here like the quality of the camera is very nice, so great for web calls, for FaceTime calls, Zoom calls, that kind of stuff. This is a perfect work laptop, a perfect student laptop, and again, if you're into the bigger size, the 15 inches, then I think this might be your bag. I personally still would prefer a smaller footprint. The 14-inch version of this to me is the sweet spot. This to me is still a little on the large side, okay? This is still like, this is like, I'm basically going back to like a regular laptop, right? Which most people might even enjoy that. You get bigger space as far as the keyboard goes. Now, what's interesting is you don't have any grills here for speakers or anything like that like you do on the Pros, right? So the sound is coming from somewhere else. But the sound quality is the fact that you can shift the focus after the fact that you take the photo. So you don't even have to take the photo in portrait mode. You can actually go back and change it to portrait. You know what? The speakers actually sound really good. Now, they're not super beefy, but they're not tinny like they would be on a Mac Mini. These speakers actually sound quite nice. Whoa. Sorry about that. And so in between great speakers, a great camera for FaceTime and Zoom calls and that kind of stuff. Even you can use it as like a third camera if you want to film something. Phenomenal footprint. It is the lightest computer device I've ever used. This thing is incredible. And it comes with the 2 Thunderbolt ports. You've got your MagSafe and you've got your headphone jack if you're still using wired headphones. This to me is a huge win, and at the price point that it's at, why not? Apple, every now and then you make a product that to me kind of boggles my mind as to why it exists, why it's placed at the price point that it's at, and why it can do all the things that it can do. And then I go, why do I need the Pro products? This is one of them. The MacBook Air is one of them. The M2 MacBook Air 15 inch is one of them. Great job. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more tech-based and creativity content. My name is Amir, and I'll see you next time.